Welcome to WagerTalk Today, the gold standard of sports betting shows where we talk the talk and walk the walk. He's back from suspension. No, I'm just kidding. It's a throwback. Everyone was making the joke that Brian Leonard has been suspended from total bases when all it was he just went back home for a little bit. So welcome back, Dan. Welcome back. I'm sure it's good to be back in your studio with real Wi-Fi.
Dude, yeah, we have real Wi-Fi. I have actual microphones set up. It's one of those vacations where it feels like you need a vacation from your vacation, right, Andy? But football is back this week. Even if it's the Hall of Fame game, football is back, which means we are back, the dynamic duo, all the way through the rest of NFL until I have a child. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there, Andy, because this is Wager Talk Today. We got the Wager Talk Today play of the day that you have continued cashing in even in my absence, Andy. So well done there. We got Bill Crackman coming on, Steve Merril coming on for a pair of MLB games, and we'll talk with Gianni. All this movement in MLB, does it mean butt kiss in the marketplace? Gianni will let us know. But, Andy, you know what we got to do to kick off the show. 44 and 33 on these free plays right at the top, Andy. Let's get the folks, the Wager Talk Today play of the day, and get in, losers, because we're fading Aaron Nola. Let's go.
Why we always end up with a play on Aaron Nola? It's not on purpose. It really isn't. But sometimes the numbers just speak to it. We were 2 and 3 on plays of the day last week, so need a winner to get us going. I'm taking the under 17.5 outs. When I did the research, I was like, I think they may be setting me up just because this number makes no sense. He's gone under 9 out of the last 11 games. This play is 16 and 6 on the season. So why would they hang a 17.5 out there? The game was called early yesterday for the Phillies, so they barely used their bullpen. They barely used their bullpen the day before, so I got a completely rested bullpen. I think here's what's going on. The Nationals just got their absolute asses kicked against Atlanta. I expect their bats to regress up and be a little bit better, but the starting pitchers for Atlanta had really good success against this lineup. I'm wondering if that's what the books are seeing, because when I crunch the numbers, what he's done recently and over the course of the season, 16.5, maybe 15.5 would be the play for me. But the books may know something I don't, but for this better, 17.5 outs is going to be the play.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the odds makers are clearly thinking, hey, Nola goes a little bit deeper. It could be because he's off a solid outing, but this is a play that we have eyed usually when Nola is on the mound, when the number makes sense. 17.5, I'm with you, Andy. Does he go that deep? That's the question that you're trying to ask, and I don't think he does as well. So, yeah, if I'm back, Andy, you know we have to bring the Nola fades back. It's what we do. That's how we kick off a week, bro.
I didn't wake up wanting to go against Aaron Nola. It just happened.
RJ's not happy about a LSU fade right out the gate, but it's been quite some time that he was donning the purple and yellow, my friend.
Yeah, and see, then RJ says he's fading Nola myself. Yeah, see, exactly. When there's real money on the line, and amazing when there's real money on the line. So we will go over all the trades. I'm sure I missed a couple, and then we have a graphic that may be one of my favorite graphics we've shown on this one. But let's bring in Gianni. Gianni, happy Monday. And we were talking earlier, the UFC gods are smiling down upon us once again. Looks like most of us have righted the ship there. But how are you this Monday?
God bless America. Never better. I had a nice winning weekend in MMA as well, but lost in baseball the last 2 days and gave some back. We were on fire coming out of the break. But last 2 days were tough in baseball, but woke up today, great morning already, made a nice trade on Bloom Energy down to 191. And was just looking for $25 a share and already got there. I'm like, damn, by 9 a.m., it only took about 90 minutes. So God bless America. Thank you. Sometimes the gods smile upon us. With that said, you touched on a ton of trades in Major League Baseball. The ones that matter are to the teams that actually matter. Again, we are coming down the stretch. A lot of close races everywhere pretty much. I mean, you look at the AL East, Tampa and New York are right there within a game of each other, more or less. You look at the Central, same thing with Cleveland and Chicago within a game, even Minnesota and Detroit, all within striking distance. In the AL West, you have Seattle, Houston, Texas battling out all within like a game or two of each other. very, very tight races. But you get to the National League, Atlanta has a nice cushion. Milwaukee's got a nice cushion. And of course, the Dodgers got a nice cushion. So it's mostly in the American League where they're still jockeying for division. Yankees went out there and they added an infielder from Washington, Louis Garcia. That's going to shore up their defense a little bit. The Rays picked up a nice starter in Peralta from the Mets. That should shore up their starting lineup as well. Their lineup, their pitching staff overall. The Cubs picked up Gausman from Toronto. That's a big pickup there for the Cubs. See if they're going to be able to make a run. Again, they're finding themselves 6.5 games behind, but it's not too late. We have them right now. They will finish still 4 or 5 games behind Milwaukee. That's our projection. They will pick up a little bit of ground. With that said, we do have them as the 4th best record in the National League when it's all said and done. We have Milwaukee and Dodgers. Obviously, the Dodgers winning over 100 games. We have Milwaukee coming in behind them with about 95 games. And then, of course, Atlanta to win the East. Right after that, it's Philly, Chicago, and Arizona as well behind them. But Chicago's got about a 3.5 game cushion, I think. At least our simulation shows over Philadelphia. And right now they're sitting at about a 3 or 4 game cushion. That's probably where it's going to end. If it holds up, at least how my guys got it projected, the guys that I work with. So again, decent trades. I don't see any real change that should come of it to the future odds, because again, they're so top heavy with the Dodgers in the National League. So anyone other than the Dodgers was going to offer you value regardless, whether you look at the Phillies, whether you look at Milwaukee, whether you're, the Cubs, regardless where you go outside of the Dodgers, you're going to get value. And in the American League, outside of the Yankees, where with the Yanks, even though they're not in first place, even though they're trailing Tampa by 2.5 games, they're still that sexy team. That's the most risk. It's not like Tampa offers much futures risk, I don't think. I'm on Tampa in future bet. But I think the Yankees are obviously more dangerous. And again, if anything, maybe that pickup will lower their odds a little bit. But I don't think these trades should send anyone really to the window because of it. But I do think if you're sitting on a Rays future like I have, that's a good picking up. Peralta is a positive. If you got a Yankees future or even a Phillies future, they really picked up, Arraez and Raleigh. That's going to help them for sure offensively and in the pitching. And then again, finally, like the Dodgers needed more help. And what did they do? They picked up an ace from Detroit. So the Dodgers just made themselves a heavier favorite. But it's been like that since day one of this Major League Baseball season. You're going to find value elsewhere. It was like when Golden State was so dominant in the NBA. Every other team offered you a ton of value, but could they beat Golden State in the 7-game series? That was the problem. And this is going to be the issue here, where on paper, there's value on some of these futures, but it's not going to be easy to beat the Dodgers in a 7-game series. If this was like NFL, college football, where you have a one and done, I'd be a lot more confident in fading the Dodgers. But again, they are going to be tough to beat when the playoffs do come around. With that said, I have Milwaukee and I have Tampa Bay. Those are my 2 horses as we head into the playoffs.
I think the Dodgers are. I would be looking hard to bet against them in some form. I mean, they are so loaded, and it is legit championship or bust. I mean, you really think they're going to leave their pitchers out there for 100 pitches? Like, no way. Like, go out, get a few innings in. Let's just like roll into
get to the playoffs healthy. That's their only goal right now. Yep.
Yeah. Who cares about like the home field? I mean, I guess it's okay, but in baseball, does that really matter? Doesn't seem to matter that much in hockey. So I don't know. Some of these teams, I mean, I know it's championship or bust for a lot of these teams, but the Dodgers are just, I could see them putting it into cruise control. They're 10 games up in their division. So it's like they could go on a 10-game losing streak and still be tied.
And they have arguably a better road record than home record. I think it's going to be more important for Milwaukee a team like Milwaukee to win, to have home field. Like, I think for them, it would be a bigger deal for the road to go through Milwaukee than it would for the Dodgers. So I'm interested to see how that ends up. We have it, like I said, with the Dodgers, unfortunately, projected to win more games than Milwaukee. But so far, Milwaukee is getting it done, and they're kind of outperforming where they should be. Even right now, they're won 62% of their games, and we have them below 60. Like, they should win at about 58, 59% rate. So they're playing better than they should as well. But and in baseball, that's rarer than in other sports, but they're not that far off. Like, by this time of the year, that's the key, that most of these teams are back. They're doing what they should be doing. It's strange. Like, if you looked at the preseason projections and even projections just, from 6-8 weeks ago, I think they're really on point. And I don't think too much is going to change. Again, most of the National League has been pretty much figured out. When you're talking about 7-8 game lead, I know there's time to play, but it's tough to make up. But in the American League is where we don't know. And I think that's where you're going to find some futures value in finding that team to win the American League that may be, overlooked. Or I think that's where the money is right now. National League, forget about it, unless, again, because the Dodgers are so heavy. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but go out other the Dodgers, you're going to get some value in the NL, but the AL's wide open. And yeah, you look at those teams, like Yankees have the best run differential right now, and they're not in first place. So it's like, should they be like that? That's the interesting thing. And then you look at a team like Cleveland, who's right there in second place. They've got a negative run differential. You look at the Astros, Texas, both negative run differential by like 30. It's not like, they're within a couple runs. These are teams that are now 30 runs below, and they're going to end up winning the division. Again, usually going to find some value in that mix, because even though it's baseball and the cream will rise to the top, I'm not too sure exactly who the cream is. Like right now, and in Major League Baseball, my power ratings, I'll give you my top 5 right now. It's Dodgers number 1, Brewers number 2, Cubs number 3, Braves number 4, and then the Yankees. And I have the Yankees as the first Major League AL team, and they're 5th. So it shows you all the strength is in the NL, and that all those divisions are pretty much locked up, more or less. So yeah, we still got baseball to be played, but yeah, I it's all in the AL, and to see how that plays out. Because again, it's crazy. Like, I have a future on the Rays, but I have the Red Sox and the Yankees power rated above them. But the fact is, I have the Rays winning the most games in the AL. That's why I thought the future value was there. At anything, they were like 15, 16, 17 to 1. And again, I didn't think they were the best team on paper, but I thought they were going to win the most games, get me into the playoffs, get me some equity, and then we could make some money. But I do think even the Yankees and Boston, who again, they're now how many games out? These are teams that probably some won't even make the playoffs. And
yeah. Like this AL West is, this is one for the ages. Your division leaders minus 27 in run differential. Second place is minus 36. Third place is plus 3. And then you've got the Angels at minus 74 and the Athletics minus 154. That is one for the ages to have a run differential of minus 154 at this point.
And I like Seattle right now. The best team is Seattle, power rated wise. That's what I trust our data a lot now.
Yeah.
Make a long story short, we have Seattle as they're not a top 10 power rated team in Major League Baseball. They're right outside the top 10. But we have Seattle as the best team in the American League West, and that's a perfect example of possible value. But in projections, we have them winning the AL West. So like right now, that would be a good bet. Now we have it all within a game of each other. We have Seattle winning 83 games. We have Texas winning 82 games and Houston winning 81.5, like right around there. They're all within a game of a half of each other. But right there, I think a possible future bet in Seattle. What is that? The future on Seattle to win that division? That might be something to look into.
What do you got Steam-wise for any baseball games today? We got a few NBA games. That is a really good one, the Aces and the Dream. I'm wondering if you got any Steam for WNBA and MLB.
Yep, got a little WNBA action. We have Seattle at +9 and 8.5. We have Phoenix. They flipped them to favorite from +1.5, +1 pick 'em, and laid the -1 on Phoenix, and then went over in that Phoenix game 75 and 76.5. So yeah, look, Seattle's 8-1 to win the American League. That's wild. And then Major League Baseball, slow day today, and leading into this week, we saw a lot of dog overnight action, early action, betting those dogs. Today seems like they're getting out ahead of the public on a handful of these, because I'm seeing the recreational bettors lining up on a lot of the same sides. Start off with Philadelphia. Philadelphia got hit on the overnight, and then this morning you saw Washington money come in. And since then, more Philadelphia, I think, public money. So you have like two-way sharp action, Philadelphia and Washington. Now, one-sided under sharp in Milwaukee, Pittsburgh total, but they took all the 8.5s and 9s out of there. You're looking at pretty much 8 across the board, because they laid up the -130 to go under 8.5. And then Arizona, 908 Arizona -105, and the over 8 and 8.5 there. 914 Texas at even money and -105. And then 916, the under in that Tampa Bay and Colorado. That's opposite the public, under 12. Elsewhere, haven't seen all that much movement. Again, public's heavy today on the Yankees, no surprise. On Houston, no surprise. And Milwaukee, that's and Philly. Like that 3 and 14 parlay is Philly, Milwaukee, Houston, Yankees. Philly, Milwaukee, Houston, Yankees. I'm seeing that over and over again in either 3 or 14 parlays. So no surprise, betting the mid-level favorites today from the recreational bettors.
Fading teams on trade days, or parlaying teams on trade days. Truly wild. That is
never cease to amaze you.
We'll go over it with all of the trades, but Gianni, what's your opinion? What's happened in UFC? It feels like we're all running really, really hot in that sport. I know it's changed for us. I'm curious if you got something on your end. You have any thoughts?
I'm telling you, I'm surprised that the favorites continue to win at this rate. I know I've said that before, and I've even said it in the UFC in years past. But we're coming up into the fall now, and we're well over 300 plus fights. And the way you're seeing favorites just dominate cards. The other day, what did we have? 14 fights, 12 favorites again. It's almost impossible not to make money. Just your opinion, like it doesn't even matter. I hate to put it like that, but right now it hasn't even mattered about closing line value, and none of that has really mattered. It's just lock up the right 3, 4, 5, or 6 favorites that are better on paper, and you're cashing a ticket. And you could even throw in the main card. Like usually you're not surprised to see that with the undercard, because a lot of times it is mismatches on paper. But in the main card, you expect a lot more parity, right? These are all contender matchups or champ title fights more times than not. And yet that just hasn't been the case. It's the exact same result, where historically, right, you could, no matter what position you blindly bet, okay, we went back and did this data. This is how crazy the quant that I work with is. Now, you could pick any position blindly, meaning if you look at a UFC card, there's 12 fights, okay? Let's say 12 fights. Whether you bet the dog in the first fight or the favorite, whether you bet the dog in the second fight, third fight, fourth fight, fifth fight, main event, co-main event, whatever. In every situation, whether you blindly bet all the favorites or all the dogs, you were negative ROI. So you couldn't blindly bet every favorite or every dog in any of the slots, except in the very first fight. Favorites did better. They were still negative ROI, but the favorites did a lot better in that first fight. And that's not surprising, right? The first fight was usually a debut fighter or late scratch. It's usually a situation where it's a mismatch on paper. But more surprisingly, the only position that you could blindly bet and have a positive ROI was the underdog in the co-main event. I can't believe I'm saying this and sharing this.
That's interesting.
Over the last 20 years, if you blindly just bet the underdog in the co-main event every single time, you'd be up money. I forget the exact ROI. I'm pretty sure it's near double digits. And that, again, that's how it should be. Now, again, we did this like a year ago, so that might have even changed. You know what I mean? But that was the one rare position where, again, there was value on the dog. You're just not seeing that in anywhere right now. And again, trusting efficient markets, that has to change, right? Like I believe in math, and I trust in the laws of the large numbers, and I expect the bigger the sample size, the more it should reflect what's expected. But it's just not happening. And that, to me, is the biggest story of, again, we could look at individual matchups, fighters, stories, great storyline 2026, don't get me wrong. But from a betting perspective, that to me is what sticks out the most, that favorites continue to cash at a ridiculous pace, that you could just blindly tie 5 or 6 fighters together and nail a parlay every single week so far this year. It's been like that. Wild.
Yeah, and then they had like a record number of first round finishes. Like it was just like
that's way ahead too. Finishes are ahead of decisions. Another point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, my take is we're to the part of the year where UFC starts clearing out their roster. These guys that have 2 and 3 fights that UFC doesn't want anything to do with, you're out of there. I mean, Haley Cohen is a perfect example. She was a disaster. She should never have been signed. She lost all of her UFC fights and then promptly retired after her fight. So, like, you know, that's been what we've been noticing is UFC will tell you who they don't want in there anymore, and then they give them a horrible matchup.
Yeah, you see the guy coming in with a 3-fight losing streak or hasn't had a single win yet in the UFC. Yeah,
he's in trouble. The other thing is the weird storylines that just don't feel like they're baked into the line have really started hitting through. I know Medic.
So is Miles John on the chopping block with Jesse Rosas in that opening fight this week? He's lost 3 straight. He's up there in age.
I don't think so, because he's lost against good fighters by split decision that you could make the case that he should have won.
Zoom out a little bit, and he's kind of been competitive over the last 3-4 years, you know?
Yeah. No, he's not too bad. But yeah, these storylines that I just feel like people are not taking, like the main event, Medic was minus 500. You don't need me to tell you to bet a minus 500. But Daniel Rodriguez just spent 9 months in a Mexican prison where he was malnourished and had to work as a bodyguard for the cartel. What kind of camp is that? And then he already came out and said, he's like, yeah, I was out of shape, but I needed a paycheck. So like some of those storylines have been hitting for us. So that's kind of what I've been taking away from it. So wild stuff. Do you know if you're doing Contender Series or not? We start next week.
Yep. Yes, sir. I think that starts next week, right?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure. I know I have a production meeting today, actually. I have a production meeting later today with the UFC. So I'll get all that scheduling. I can't believe it. The busy time is here, baby. Contender Series is here. College football and NFL's around the corner. I'm so excited. I'm like, you're waking up before the alarm starts of late. It's like that time of the year, you know?
Yeah. What I read on social media, we don't have any more Thursdays without football for the rest of the year.
So awesome.
Like every Thursday has a football game on it. So, all right, what do you have up for everyone today?
All right, future packages are up and finalized. That's NFL season win totals with the NFL to win the Super Bowl. That package is complete, one together with a 5%. College football, 6 season win totals of 5%, 4 percenters. And also my 3-pack for the national championship. I love those futures, including one that's upwards of 60-1. Yeah, they should make the playoffs or be right in the conversation. And also, Steam sheet will be up over the next 60 minutes. While we were talking, was just able to confirm one of the leans that I had strong just came in. So I will have the Steam sheet up as well. We got UFC this week on Saturday, and I've already confirmed the play. Subscribers should receive that later today. Also, busy week, man. And hopefully I could confirm more football. Already sent out a week 1 play in college, and I'm still digging into week by week. Don't want to wait until the game day because a lot of the value will be extracted. So jump on board early and lock in those futures, and let's start making some money.
All right. Gianni the Greek joining us. Thank you very much. Yep. Have a great Monday. Vegas, Atlanta over. I really wanted to take the over in that game, but they played earlier this season. It went under. It just talked me off of it. That being said, I did a same game parlay video for that game. So it's just a 2-leg same game parlay for pretty close to even money. So that's up at the channel right now if you need a little action in that one. All right, Dan, we got to go over some of these trades. I'm sure there's a couple that have happened since I did all this, but obviously Skubal traded to the Dodgers. That's a Tigers trade. Luis Garcia Jr. to the Yankees. That's a Nationals trade. I'm trying to keep track of these teams that might be showing us they're waving the white flag. Kevin Gausman to the Cubs. That's a Blue Jays trade. And then the Blue Jays promptly trade for Jose Soriano. Okay.
Kind of weird.
Alrighty.
They're just like, we need to make moves. We need to make moves. I don't think there's anything to be gleaned by the Blue Jays for sure.
Freddie Peralta to the Rays. That's a Mets trade. I think that's a pretty big sign. And then Tyler Mahle to the Braves and Luis Arraez to your Phillies, Dan. Those are 2 Giants trades. That's the team that we got to circle.
Selling. That's waving the white flag. That's trying to accumulate because the Phils did give up a lot for their hitter that they're getting here. But I will say, as a Phillies fan, what did they need? One of the last pure hitters left in baseball. Like this guy, he doesn't give a shit about launch angle. He's a guy who gets the ball in play, which so badly is what the Phils have needed. Is a guy who just can single them into scoring opportunities. How that shuffles around the outfield. There's talk of Bryce Harper heading to the outfield. So then Arraez can play in the infield. So a lot to be learned over these next few days with the Phillies. But as a Phils fan, happy to see a hitter in the rotation that actually can play small ball, which is not a part of the Phillies roster as it's currently constructed.
We're going to break down an NFL future. We've got a quarterback prop. We're going to take a look at Jordan Love, his passing touchdowns at the end of the show. But I pulled this graphic. This broke my brain. This is player deferral breakdown for the Dodgers.
Full screen.
$1.1 billion total in Dodgers payroll that are deferred. And look at those time frames. Ohtani to 2043, Mookie Betts to 2044, Blake Snell 2046, Diaz till 2047. Like this just defies description for I can't wrap my brain around it, Dan.
Here's what the numbers are stacked. Right. The numbers are mind blowing. The thing that gets me is like, they were already talking about having a work stoppage, right? They were already talking about a potential. You look at this list and you say, you know what? There probably do need to be some changes in baseball. You know, if we're able to just continually back end, throw these Bonilla deals out there, there needs to be something to change. Now, I saw a tweet, I think it was from Frank the Tank, actually, who was kind of theorizing this is going to be one of the first stoppages in which the public is on the side of the owners. Before it's always, oh, these guys are greedy sons of bitches. You know what I mean? Oh, you know, they just want more money, more money. For the first time ever, fans are going to be clamoring there needs to be a salary cap because this is just broken, right? That the Dodgers can just pay whoever they want, whenever they want,
whenever they want.
Deferments. Yeah. So
it's whenever they want, which is crazy.
This is the Scooble thing was
credit card. That's a 20-year credit card. You can't do that. But I guess they can.
Well, Brian, here's what I'll say is Brian does make a good point. Everybody wishes they had the bankroll like the Dodgers. I agree with that. But Brian, your Dodgers have broken baseball. And your Dodgers are going to be the reason why you might not even have a season, or certainly not a full season, come next year. So everybody is a little tired of the Dodgers, and everybody does want to be the Dodgers, but baseball is changing because of the Dodgers.
See, that's an interesting take, that how you said people are going to be on the side of the owners. I feel like the players get blamed every time there's a stopping. Get out there and play.
Fair.
Yeah, these greedy players, and then it's like, yes, the millionaires are asking the billionaires for a little bit more money. And by the way, the players get clobbered, absolutely clobbered these days in the negotiation. The billionaire, they have too many resources that they get their absolute clocks cleaned. Just look at some of these recent deals. They are all, I mean, the NBA, the second apron was the biggest laughable, like, how did the players agree? You agreed to lower salary cap when they just signed a massive TV. I don't know. Let's bring in Crack and let's get his thoughts on some of this, because some of this stuff is this is wild, Crack. I mean, I don't know if you saw that chart. The Dodgers have over $1 billion deferred. They're paying guys till 2047. That's just so much ammo. That's so much ammo for stoppage.
Wow, look at that. $680 million deferred to 2043. I like to put up a yes, no. Will Shohei Ohtani be living in 2043? The yes is a favorite, but not as much as you think. Yeah, but unbelievable. 2043. The guy will be 55, 65. It's funny. I'm looking at the some Dodgers futures. A lot of the sports books don't even have them up. Like Circa does not have like the division up where Caesars has. You have to lay 200 to 1 in the Dodgers. If you want them to win the division, it's minus 200 to 1. It's some of these odds are absolutely crazy. And you know, like I always say, I have the director of BetMGM on my Fox Sports Radio show on Sundays. And he said 40% of the baseball futures were already on the Dodgers before this big trade over the weekend. So now you can imagine more money coming in on the Dodgers. So, you know, when you have that much risk on one team, you have to have some low-hanging fruit on some other teams. And I just look at, I'm on the Caesars app, but I can go back to the MGM app. Like World Series winner. So maybe I don't like betting into one-way markets. I like betting yes, no. Like Circa puts up yes, no on each team for a lot of different types of bets. Whereas most of the sports books just put up a one-way bet. Dodgers to win the World Series plus 150. Yankees to win the World Series plus 700. And so there's so much juice in those type of markets normally that it doesn't make it worth. I say it doesn't make it worth betting. That's for Joe Public. I'm saying that for someone like myself, or maybe you guys out there that are listening and watching. If you have multiple books, you may find something here. So if you have 10 different sports books or 8 different or 5, whatever your jurisdiction is, you may find some low-hanging fruit, especially at, you know, of course, the legal licensed books that have so much exposure on one of the teams. They're forced to maybe make something worth a little bit more. Maybe the Brewers here at 10 to 1. You know, I'm only looking at one line here. I didn't look at their, but maybe the Brewers at 10 to 1 here when they're 8 to 1 or 7 to 1 other places could be worth the bet. Maybe the Braves at 14 to 1. That looks like off the tip of my tongue. That just looks like a pretty high number compared to I've seen 10 to 1s and 9 to 1s everywhere. So yeah, listen. Here's the deal. Yes, the sports book, you know, does have 40% of their risk. This particular BetMGM sports book on the Dodgers futures, but as I always say, God protects the bookmaker. I look at when he was open enough and transparent enough to come on our show and say, when the final World Cup game was 0-0 in regulation time, that outcome, that made more than the Super Bowl for the sports book. That's how much money they made on that particular game. Because the 0-0. Oh, let me tell you something too. A lot of people, especially here in America, they really didn't understand what they were wagering on. So they're betting Spain, and in regulation time it's 0-0. They think, okay, I go to the counter and I get refunded. No, that's not what happens. You have to, that's a three-way line you're betting into. You're not betting to who holds the cup. I think that's the proper wording. Who holds up the cup. So listen, what I'm trying to say is, yes, the sports book does have that much risk on a team. They have to get some other action to balance out their book. 40% is a giant number when you're talking not just a standalone shop, maybe like South Point or something like that. So they're forced to maybe have some low hanging fruit. So I would always recommend that. And I'll tell you right now, every swinging dick is on the Dodgers, right? Everyone you know. Yes, they probably will win. I get it. But you cannot wager anything on Dodgers futures. I'm sorry. The only thing you can do is bet against them. Unless you're just, Joe Public, like I said, and you just want to be a fan of the game. I'm not here to be a fan of the game. I don't care about any player, any team, any league. They mean nothing to me. I mean nothing to them. They mean nothing to me. My league is my bankroll. I know I'm probably getting into a gray area. I don't mean to be so mean. Sorry. All right, I lost you guys. Cannot hear you guys
Bill.
now.
Yeah, no, you come ready with any way that you want to come ready, brother. I love it, Bill. One thing we got to get into is your WNBA. You've been crushing it. 7 of the last 10 you've cashed in for the folks. You have a play up tonight. We'll talk a free play maybe for the folks in a few. But Bill, this week, NFL is back. The Hall of Fame game, you can say, is back. Carolina, Arizona, that game's going this Thursday.
Yeah.
Although, Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, something that you look forward to, your clients look forward to as well, is when the preseason kicks off here in NFL. So we're going to get into it as we get closer to the actual start of preseason. What is that, Thursday, August 13th? But
yeah.
Do you have any tips maybe for folks as they're heading into the NFL preseason? How is it that you cash in year after year on NFL preseason? Any tips for the viewers here?
First, I'll tell you, you mentioned WNBA. So yes, WNBA props have been unbelievable all season long. Yes, particularly the last few weeks, but all season long, even taking those out of there, WNBA player props, which all the sports books have been fantastic. And as a matter of fact, let me just give you guys a free one now that I remember it. These have been cashing pretty good. Just want to make sure that New York Liberty, she's still 8.5. Yeah, okay, 8.5. All right, so tonight, Jonquel Jones, New York Liberty rebounds over 8.5 minus 40. I see over 9.5 plus 110 here. So that's 50 cents for one rebound. That's probably a good bet. It's probably a good bet too. So over 8.5 minus 140, over 9.5 plus 110. She's over this number 11 of her last 12 games, and is up against a Seattle team that's been playing a lot faster lately, and had the second fastest pace in the league in the last month. So I'm looking at a third line here. Okay, 8.5 over 45. Okay, so there's 3 lines. There's a prop for you guys. Now, also going into the very important preseason, we only have a few weeks here. This particular Thursday night game, the line has been up. This is the only one, of course, of the games that this line's been up for a month, maybe even longer. So there's nothing right now I see on this game. My co-host on Fox, Jeff Schwartz, who played 8 years in the NFL, he's going to the training camp today over there in Carolina. He lives in Charlotte, so he's going to inform me of anything he gets there. But it's mostly the beat writers that I do go by. But the most important, I'm glad you mentioned about preseason football and plays. People, when you join me, again, I'll say it, have your notifications on. I had someone say something that was excellent, because you don't want your email notifications on. You're constantly getting pounded on your emails. Here's what you do. It's going to be unbelievable. I'm telling you to do this just for me. Create a separate email just for Bill Krackomberger's WagerTalk plays. just put those notifications on, get them instantly to your phone, because by doing that, you will see, you will have the best of it on so many lines, your head's going to shake and say, wow, what Crack told me was absolutely right. We laid Pick'em, and the line is 2.5. And by the way, sounds like not a big move, right? Pick'em 2.5, no big deal. Pick'em. Well, in preseason football, it absolutely means everything when the 1 and the 2 are key numbers, not the 3. 3 also, but 1 and the 2 are key numbers. A lot of these teams go for 2. So instead, they want to win the game in preseason, just to have some fun with it and test out their going for 2 skills. So guys, I want you guys to know though, someone gave me that suggestion. It's a great suggestion. Have a separate email just for my WagerTalk plays. Get those notifications to your phone and log into your sports books. That's absolutely what to do. But you mentioned about, let's go. We could even go back to preseason, why it's so profitable. I was going to say go back to baseball. Well, let's go to preseason. Let's stick with preseason. Preseason is so profitable because the information that's out there with these beat reporters, social media, it's been so good over the years, especially to me and anyone you guys all know. If you follow me, for years I've had people tell me, "Crack, preseason is coming. Please make sure you get us up there and get us involved." And I have a couple friends that even follow me. They have opinions. They're New Yorkers and Philly guys. They have their own opinions on a lot of things, but not on preseason. Matter of fact, they even say to me, years ago, "You bet preseason football? Are you crazy?" Until they seen what I did and what we do. I'll bet on anything if I have a mathematical edge. So preseason football, again, this Thursday, probably won't have anything this Thursday. But as soon as the lines come up and there's a market, I'm not one of those guys that put up, bet this at DraftKings, bet this at FanDuel, bet this at Bet365. Oh, bullshit. I want to give you an obtainable line. I could pad my record doing that. Absolutely. I can have a much better record if I tell you just to bet something at one obscure sports book. But you guys don't have all these sports books. Now, granted, you should have, if you're in one of those legal jurisdictions, you definitely should have multiple accounts funded. DraftKings, FanDuel, great to have. Imagine me saying something good about DraftKings, but I mean, I can't bet there, but you guys could absolutely have DraftKings, FanDuel. I'll even say have like the Bet365s, Hard Rock. I know down in Florida and Jersey, they have the apps there. I'm actually going to be doing some trips this year to the East Coast just to see what some of the sports books are taking on NFL player props, which is my bread and butter. I'll say the preseason football, NFL player props, my bread and butter throughout the season. I should say that about WNBA props too, though. Here we have the second half of the season, and I only hope that we do half as good as the first half of the season. That's how good the player props have gone. I'll just finish with that baseball stuff. Guys, just make sure, put your head inside of what the bookmakers are taking. And just know that if everyone is betting one way into the bookmaker, that means the bookmaker is rooting for the other side. Those, even as far as must-win games and all that, you're going to pay extra vig for the must-win bets and to bet into these markets that have these big favorites like this. And be a friend to yourself and learn from guys like me that have made a living betting sports the last 30 years.
Love it. Bill Krackomberger. You can grab his best bets at WT.buzz/Crackman. You got a WNBA prop up tonight that people can grab, or you can take advantage of some of these great deals. Folks, you can lock in Crack through the end of the year. I don't know if you want to hear this, Crack. They can grab through December 31st for $7.99 right now.
Yeah, that includes all the NFL props. That's worth
everything.
Worth its weight in gold. That's college football. That's the preseason football. That's a steal. That's a great deal. I didn't know. By the way, touch a Bible. I have a Bible here. Touch a Bible. I didn't even know you guys had that thing going on. So,
no, I know. That's why I always sometimes, Bill, I'll tell the deals after you leave the show because I know probably sometimes it makes your eyes pop out of your head. But yeah, basically half off through December 31st. You can get NFL preseason. As you said, NBA is kicking off on October 20th. All these WNBA props, all that, $7.99, WT.buzz/crack, man. Bill, always a pleasure.
One more thing. So just seeing that price, I had 17 people that were paying me $500 a month at my previous site that I worked for. 17 people paying $500 a month. By the way, since I started the site, that's right, since I started the site 6-7 years ago. And so to see that $7.99, that's a great deal. I'm happy to be over here with you guys, and happy to be able to share that with the public there for $7.99. Guys, have a great week. I'll talk to you next week.
Always a pleasure. One of the Mount Rushmores, and we get him here every single Monday. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe, WT.buzz/crackman. And Andy, that deal's good at anyone's page. That's not just Crack's page. That's one of the site-wide deals that we have. We got Steve Merril coming up. Andy, they can use that on your plays as well. And they'll get quite different leagues and sports if they diversify and check out what Andy Lang's rocking with.
Yeah, it's a little different than your $20 long shot parlay dub club subscription. It's going to be slightly different, just a little bit. So we 4% MLB play. That's up. That's our only play today. These things have been absolutely dynamite. I know a lot of you have been following them. Thank you. 21-6 run. It doesn't get much better than that. We were very selective. I don't think I had any on Saturday or Sunday. So we're coming off of a winner on Friday, or no, the one we got rained out on Friday, and it was our boy Jose Soriano that just got traded. So, but we got a pitcher prop that's out. I love it for today. 21-6 run. But again, we're running a lot of specials. I still have the half price for 30 days. So you want to lock that in. And so, Dan, I was talking to Jim earlier. Right now, pretty much starts the rest of our year. Like busy time starts this week, starting with Thursday. We've got auto racing. We've got UFC, we've got PFL, and then every Tuesday Contender Series is back up for 10 straight weeks. And then we are right back in to college football, NFL, NBA, NHL. I just wish we could have the World Cup every year. Did that make summer awesome? Did that make June and July just awesome? Man. So we got to thank you for the donation here. If you want me to break down anything, or you got any questions or anything, yeah, let me know in the chat if you're looking for anything specific. But appreciate the donation. They all go to charity. We just donated about $900 to a veteran group. So, all right, let's bring in Steve Merril, who is miraculously wearing a different shirt than me. I made sure of it. I
actually checked for the first time ever. Well, actually, I've checked a few others, as you know, but I was going to wear a gray shirt. I had a gray shirt on over this gray shirt, and I was like, I know Andy is not. I was like betting with myself, Andy will not wear it today. So I checked. I was like, I might as well knock it out one more time. So
yeah, absolutely. So Steve, we got a couple of games here. Before that, any thoughts on the trade deadline, or is this change the way you handicap? Are you looking to bet on teams that traded fourth? Are you looking to fade teams that are sellers, or nothing changes at all? What's your take around this time of year?
Yes and no, no and yes, depending on which order you're asking that. Because I think most of those teams will be play-on teams in a few weeks, but maybe not this week, right? You got to worry about that little bit of a lull, the calm before the storm before the calm, maybe is a better way to put it. And I do think you'll get some value with these sellers, but you got to worry about the clubhouse mentality here as we approach the official deadline tonight at 6:00 Eastern on Monday, August 3rd. You know, when you're a seller, you basically kind of told your team, we're not trying to win anymore this season. I think that can be deflating at times, but it can also be a spark for other players. And we've talked a lot about this over the years. In September, you take a real contrarian view when handicapping baseball, meaning that don't be afraid to play those ugly underdogs come September that are out of the race. First of all, you get extreme line value. I mean, you're going to see minus 300, minus 400s in some games. But the players that come up from AAA, when the rosters are expanded in the final month, they're trying hard. They're trying harder than anybody's tried all season. And also, a lot of the opposing pitchers aren't familiar with those hitters. Hitters aren't familiar with the opposing pitchers that are called up. And we will get some value with the ugly underdogs come September, but we might trade a little lightly here over the next couple of weeks in early August.
Yeah, it's also not really like the race to the bottom for the number one draft pick like other sports.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Andy. Yeah, that's a lot different. You're right.
Yeah, like NBA. I mean, you got teams sitting their entire rosters, but with baseball, they really take approach of, hey, we need to see what we got with our prospects. Bring up a lot of these guys. Let's see what we got. So, all right, well, let's talk a couple of specific games. We got Giants, Rangers, and then big one today, Dodgers, Cubs. So we got Logan Webb for the Giants, Cal Quantrill for Rangers, Robleski for Dodgers. That one's always tough for me to pronounce. We got Boyd going for the for the Cubs. So, floor is yours. Tell us about these two games. What do you like, and what do you have up at WagerTalk?
Yeah, so officially, if you look at the odds screen right now in some of the sports fights, we've got undecided for the Dodgers, undecided for the Rangers. But Andy mentioned the likely guys there. And once again, teams that were involved in the trade deadline across the board here, Cubs and Dodgers, and then also the Giants, who are a seller. Rangers haven't done much yet, but they're undecided with their starter going into this morning, so they might be active before that deadline. So we'll talk about those two games in a moment. But hey, there's 8 games on the board tonight for Monday, on trade deadline Monday. I've covered 50% of them for you. I've got a strong best bet in a different game tonight, which I love. And by the way, perfect 4-0 sweep on Saturday and Sunday to start the month of August. Let's keep it going and make it a 5-0 start with a strong best bet tonight. And also a bonus free play in my Washington Nationals against Dan Alexander's Philadelphia Phillies game. So we got a bonus free play in that Nationals-Phillies game and a strong best bet on my page. And now let's look at 2 other games as we officially give you half the baseball games for Monday. Going to give you these 2 spotlight games. By the way, we'll start with that Giants-Dodgers game. I'm sorry, the Dodgers-Cubs game will go second because the Giants and Rangers, if I'm not mistaken, is the ESPN National TV game. What? Yeah, this is the ESPN National TV game. That's what the schedule says. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. But yeah, they're not putting Dodgers Cubbies on. Maybe there's a TV network. Maybe the Cubs have the rights to that. I don't know. We'll get to that in a moment. Let's look Giants and Rangers here. Logan Webb on the mound for the Giants. They sold the 3-time Arise is now rising elsewhere. 3-time batting champ is gone. That's not a seller indication. I don't know what else. And now Robbie Ray might be on the selling block by 6 p.m. tonight on Monday. If you're watching this video later, that might have happened, might not have happened. But my point is it's hard to trust the Giants right now in that clubhouse. They know the season is over. Has not been a good season. They're 22 games behind the Dodgers. But more importantly, they're 12 games behind the wild card spot, 18 games below 500. This is a team I'd be careful with here over the next week. Maybe we get some value with them, as I mentioned, later in the season. But right now, they're a fluttering 500 team. Rangers, though, they're hard to trust also. They've now lost 5 straight games. They lost the last couple against Tampa on the road, and they got swept at Houston this past weekend. And one thing for both these teams, as is often the case when you're losing multiple games in a row, is the offense is struggling. Giants have scored 4 runs or less in 3 of their last 4 games. And the Rangers, that 5-game losing streak, they've scored 4 runs or less in all 5. In fact, they have scored 2 runs or less in 3 of those last 5 losses. 2 struggling offenses, 2 teams whose mindsets, especially the Giants, is questionable. Let's not overthink this, pun intended. We'll look at the under 8 tonight. Under 8 between the Giants and Rangers. Webb on the mound. Rangers still undecided, but I still think both offenses are struggling, and we'll play the under for that reason. That's your ESPN game, apparently. All right, let's look at the other game at 8 o'clock Eastern, which should be the ESPN game, but this is Dodgers-Cubs, and this is a battle of buyers come trade deadline. The Dodgers, they had to shore up that offense. Well, they had to shore up that pitching rotation. They got the best pitcher in the league in Skubal. The rich get richer. They're 26 games above 500 on the season, and nobody wants to fade them. With that said, though, could this trade deadline have been a little bit of a distraction? Well, it looks like it maybe was. They're just 2-4 their last 6 games, actually just 2-5 their last 7, including losing all 3 to Boston this past week at home. 3-game home sweep. I'd have to look it up in the database, but what do you think the last time the Dodgers have been swept in a 3-game home series? I bet that hasn't happened for a few years. And as is often the case when a team is struggling, it's the offense. Now, the pitching struggled also. They gave up 20 runs in those 3 games, but they also scored 4 runs or less in each of those games. And if you go back over this 7-game span in which they've dropped 5 of their last 7, they have scored 4 runs or less in 5 of those 7 games as well. So that mighty Dodger offense in a little bit of a rut right here. And as of this morning, Boyd is listed for Chicago. Dodgers undecided. Boyd has pitched fantastic so far. Matthew Boyd, that is. Not Oil Can Boyd. Don't you dare call him Dennis Oil Can Boyd. This is Matthew Boyd. 3.4 ERA on the season. But if you go back over his last 7 starts since the last week of June, last month and a half, he's been lights out. 1.9 ERA in his last 7 outings. He did face the Dodgers twice last year. He went 12 innings, gave up 3 earned runs in each game, 6 innings, 3 earned runs each time. So he was manageable. And then the year before that, in late September in 24, his debut, he gave up just 1 run in 6 innings. So he's actually pitched really well against the Dodgers. The Dodgers' offensive lineup is struggling a bit. Problem is the Cubs' offense is struggling also. They scored 1 run or less in 2 of the 3 home games against the Yankees this weekend. And, of course, you have to check the wind at Wrigley. As of early afternoon, it's blowing across the infield at like 5 miles an hour. So we do not get that outfield wind that can really increase scoring. I like the under in this one also. 2 teams have been distracted by the trade deadline. It is shown with the record and the sluggish offense. And we got Boyd on the mound. We could take a look at the under 8 here in this one. Or do we dare play a Dodger team total under? Something we rarely talk about. It's 4.5. Cubs are 3.5. So game under 8, or maybe Dodger team total under 4.5. As Boyd has pitched really well against him the last 2 years and 3 starts. So I like the under, especially that Dodger team total under 4.5 at 8 Eastern. All right, as I mentioned, that's 2 of the 8 games on the board free for you. I've got a third free game tonight for you between the Phillies and Nationals with analysis on my page right now. And then a 4th game is my strongest best bet of the night, one of the other games, and you don't want to miss it. Perfect 4-0 sweep to start August this weekend. We look to make it 5-0. And look, monster runs after the trade deadline is nothing new. I talked about it after the All-Star break when we won the first 6 games out of the gate a few weeks ago, how we finished a couple years ago on an incredible 52-24 run from the last week of July through the World Series. Well, it's not too late to get on board because middle August on that year, a couple years ago, we went 38-15 through the World Series, almost doubling our bankroll with baseball alone. I know football starts this Thursday, and yes, we're excited about football, but don't sleep on baseball here these last 3 months of the year. It's a great time to be an all-sport, all-access client, and there's a couple great offers. You can get the single play tonight. Of course, you can save big with direct subscriptions. The buy 3, get 3 is back for 1 more month. Your last chance to buy 3 days and get 3 more days free for just $69. It's normally 3 days for $69. Nope. As you see on your screen, it's 6 days for $69, dude. And it's stackable. You could buy multiple 6-day packages for $69 and start the dates the next several months. So stack them while you can still get them. 6 days for $69. Or the best deal, the true investment approach, is the rest of 2026 for basically half price. You know, I told WagerTalk you can't do it for half price. It's too good of a deal. So let's just take 47% off instead. It's the rest of 2026 for just $7.99. And you're saving $6.96. I did the math to make sure they were not giving us half price because that's just too good of a deal. It's a 53% price off the normal rate, 47% off for the rest of the year. Think about this. This gets all 5 major sports I handicap. The rest of baseball, already 4-0 in August. College and pro football for basically the entire college regular season and the NFL regular season. You're going to get the bowls as well, basically. Also, the first month, 2 months actually of the NBA, first month and a half of college hoops. Everything for almost half price. No promo codes needed. Check those out right now. Don't miss out. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. And hey, get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. And don't forget, you can also get all this information, including my daily free plays, links to the videos on Twitter, on X, at Steve Merril, 2 R's, 1 L, Merril. So follow me on X and Instagram, at Steve Merril. And if you're liking these videos, now is the time to show your support with football around the corner. Thumbs up, like, hype on your mobile device, and of course, subscribe and click the bell so you never miss out when free play videos are posted every day, including all those Thursday night prime games, which are right around the corner. And yes, I do plan on probably doing a video for this NFL preseason game on Thursday, even though it's not an official prime game, I don't think, because, hey, Thursday night football is here in just 3 days. Make sure you follow us every day here on WagerTalk TV and WagerTalk.com, and comment below because we read the comments and we reply back. Love the support. Over 250,000 subscribers. Can't be wrong. Best of luck tonight.
Thanks, Steve. Johnny says you owe us 3%.
What's that? Owe us 3%. I said, look, I'm a big supporter of discounts and promo codes. Dan Alexander will tell you that. He sees them in his sleep like I do. But we cannot give the rest of the year for half price. I will not allow that.
I'd stand for it.
Crackman definitely would not allow that. And Andy, I love his idea about the email address. We got to find out who gave him that idea because that's a fantastic idea.
I did.
I was dying.
On this
I was
show.
waiting last week when he told him, and he told Andy like 10 times. That's a great idea, Andy. That's a great idea, Andy. And I was waiting for Dan to put Andy on screen when that was happening.
Even Lino knows ball. He said, Andy, I think that might have been you who gave
he said that. That's fantastic,
yeah.
Lino. Attaboy. I figured some other viewers probably enjoyed that.
Oh, so funny.
Bill's a busy man.
Yes.
He talks to a lot of people.
But it is true. I'll explain how to do it here in a second. But Steve, real quick, what's your how's your Washington Seamen gonna do? The Commanders. What do you
I
like?
thought you asked me about my national against his Phillies, which we do have a free play on. Dan Alexander, go read it right now.
No, nobody wants. Nationals Phillies.
It's funny because when I logged on earlier, I heard Gianni talking about the sharps on the Washington and Philly, and I'm thinking, oh man, they like the Commanders this year. And then I realized we were talking the baseball game. If you recall, Andy, and I haven't dug into the NFL futures much. People have been asking me for some season wins because last year, I loved Commanders under, gave it out here on the show. I made it a strong client play. I think it's the only NFL future I've ever posted for my clients at WagerTalk. That's how much I liked it. Because, once again, your bankroll's being tied up for almost half a year on a single play versus 3 hours on a normal game. So you really have to like it more than normal. It just set up so perfect because the Commanders were a phony team 2 years ago. They won a ton of close games, last play games, got blown out by Dan's Eagles in the championship game, which was probably my favorite NFL play of the year. And then on top of that, you had a rookie quarterback who was great, who I thought was going to be injury prone. And that was just the icing on the cake. Not that I wanted to see him get hurt, but you talked about this last week, Andy, that, like with the yardage prop, who was it? It was Goff for the Colts, I believe. You'd given his yardage over, if anything happens, any kind of missed game even, he's not going to get there. So you do really want to look for unders with season wins, props for that reason, because of the injury factor, especially in football, which is a real injury sport. So I guess you could say I'm neutral. I was heavy bullish against them last year, as you know, or bearish against them. I still think they've got some issues, but they'll probably be a little bit better than expected just because they were so bad last year. I'm going to dig a little deeper the next couple of weeks and come up with maybe my fade team for this season. But yeah, the Commanders were definitely, as you know, my fade last year. I'd say they'll probably be kind of a neutral team this year. In the market, they always say buy, sell, or hold. I would just say hold at this point on the Commanders. The Redskins, we can call them that, by the way. It's official. They looked it up. Nothing wrong with that. It's a historical figure. The logo is a real person. Historical figure. And the NFL's actually, all seriousness, the NFL is okay with the logo now. That's how wild this whole thing is.
I just think football team was perfect. I just loved it. I loved it. I loved it. It
made it so easy, as Dan knows. It made it so easy for me never to care about that organization again.
Definitely.
And then when they went to Commanders, it became very easy to still not care about that organization. I did say this though: had they beaten the Eagles in that championship game, would have been the worst thing ever because they never. I mean, you go to the Super Bowl with a nickname, you can't change it.
You never escaping that. Yeah.
I'm still rooting against them. I hope they go 0-6, 0-17, because then maybe they do go back to Redskins. You got to shake it up at that point. We'll see what happens. I pulled up the John Riggins Super Bowl run the other day. Every once in a while, I need it. I pulled it up from Super Bowl 17. God, what a greatest play in the history of that franchise. It'll never be better because it was their first Super Bowl win. So it'll never be better. 4th and 1. He might go all the way unless Blackwood can catch him. And no, he can't. Anybody who's under 50 needs to look that up because they have no clue what I'm talking about. But John Riggins, 4th and 1, Super Bowl 17, one of the greatest plays in football history.
All right, Steve. Enough reminiscing here. Appreciate your breakdowns. And yes, Steve's videos, top 25s, individual game breakdowns are coming. Thank you very much, Steve. Have a good one. So, Dan, I just realized something.
What's that?
You're having a child this fall.
I am.
On that child's 20th birthday, you're going to have to explain to him why Blake Snell is still being paid by the Dodgers.
It is pretty crazy. And that'll probably be a big something that weighs on his mind, I'm sure, is why is Blake Snell
who the hell is
paid?
Blake Snell? Who's Blake Snell?
Yeah.
So,
back in my day, we used to defer all of our contracts.
You used to not have to pay guys while they were playing. You could wait 20 years. All right, let's do NFL futures. And I had a little
my
fun.
favorite graphic ever, by the way. Jacked Andy Lang can't hurt you. He's not real. Jacked Andy Lang can't hurt you.
Hey, I went a little overboard with putting me in a football outfit, but let's keep it. So, all right, here's the schedule this week. Monday, quarterback Monday, we're doing Jordan Love over under 24.5 passing touchdowns. Tuesday, wide receiver. Let's do it tight end. So I went with yours, Dan, here. Dallas Goedert is over under 574.5. Cam Scatterbo over under 6.5 rushing touchdowns. Thursday, we're going to break down the Denver Broncos. And I believe we've already had a suggestion to do Colston Loveland as our Friday viewer choice. So, all right,
Angie, real quick before we get into Jordan Love, we do have to mention that AI not only made you jacked, they traded Cam Scatterbo to the Cardinals. He is, of course,
I didn't even see that.
You know what? It's probably because he was at Arizona. He was a Sun Devil. So I'm sure AI was like, he must be on the Arizona football team. Maybe they're going to change to the football team. But Cam Scatterbo, while he played at ASU, he will still be on the Giants. So we'll correct that.
I will fix that. I will fix that. I was too busy looking at the muscles. So
me too.
I can't believe they put him on the wrong team. All right. Jordan Love over under 24.5 passing touchdowns. Here's my breakdown. He had 23 last year, 25 in 2024, 32 2023. He played 15 games last year, but I thought clearly was not healthy. There was a lot of limping around. Let's see, played 5 games, 2024, 17 in 2023. So he doesn't miss a ton of time, but he does get nicked up a little bit. He only threw 6 interceptions last year. That was a really big improvement for them. He got a lot more accurate with the ball, not as many turnovers. Their wide receiving core is Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden. They hope to get a real step up from him in year 2. Tucker Kraft is coming back. What's he going to be like? He was absolutely phenomenal for that team last year. So if you're a Packers fan, you're really hoping Kraft is back to his playing ways. This Josh Jacobs thing. Josh Jacobs is in legal trouble, and is he going to play a lot? Is he going to be suspended? It's not a light little thing that he's been accused of here, and this is a big deal because he's rushed for 13 and 15 touchdowns the last 2 years for the Packers. If he doesn't play or does miss time, you got to lean towards the over here. The offensive line could be a problem. They let some guys go. They're going to be relying on young guys to step up. There's just not a lot of experience or chemistry. Could it get better as the season goes on? Yeah, sure. But I'm a little nervous here. I lean towards the under in this one, but that Josh Jacobs situation is looming over this team. And if he misses any time, I think Jordan Love goes over this one. I will lean to the over, but I got to wait until I see the news from Josh Jacobs. And if the line moves, then we stay away. But for now, I'm in a holding pattern until we get Josh Jacobs. But I will say this. The NFL, not exactly quick to suspend guys. They want their guys out on the field. So that's where I laid it on this one. It's a slight lean to the over, but I gotta wait for Jacobs' news. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm right there kind of with you. Now, whenever I'm looking for overs with a lot of these quarterbacks, I want them to have at least a stud wide receiver, like one guy that needs to get fed or else he's going to be bitching and, complaining, like an A.J. Brown type player.
I would say, any type of player that you could think of.
Yeah, anything come to mind? I want a quarterback who has a mouth to feed as the mouth to feed as opposed to the sum of its parts, which is this Packers team. They don't really have, as you said, you hope you get a step up out of Golden. Do you? These are a lot of guys who, other than Watson, a guy who takes the top off the defense a little bit, but he's not getting any younger. Each year he kind of seems like he has injury woes and he loses a step. So for me, it was 32 touchdowns when Jordan Love, kind of burst onto the scene, his breakout year, and then it was 25. And then it was 23. And I know that injuries were a part of it, but injuries a part of who Jordan Love is. 15 games, as Andy said, in the last 2 years, both of them. Slight lean to the under, but this is a perfect number. It's going to be right around this number. I don't see him going back to 32 touchdowns, if that's what you're wondering. I think you're right in this ballpark. So it's a pass for me. Lean towards the under. I think the Packers again should be a team who's competing as one of the better teams in the NFC. But as far as Jordan Love needing to get 25 touchdowns or more passing for them to do so, I don't think they really need to.
Okay. Yep. I agree with you. Perfect number. No notes on where the number should be. So, all right, guys. It's $5 Tuesday tomorrow. Last week we hit a $5 UFC play, and there's going to be another 5% play. So 2 UFC plays are going to go up today. One's smaller percentage. That's going to be $5. We hit that one, but we also hit our 5% best bets. I already know what the best bet's going to be. Just waiting for the lines to settle in tonight. 4% MLB prop goes off, looking to build on that 21-6 run. MLB props have been absolutely insane. So hopefully we keep this run going. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps us out. Drop us a comment and get ready for Dinger Tuesday as well tomorrow. We hit our dinger last week, Dan. We hit ours. So awesome stuff. All right. Thanks for watching. Good luck on your bets, and we will see everyone.